Well, good afternoon. This is Houndog Steve wishing you a very pleasant afternoon. And here we are on a wonderful sunny January day, but very, very cold. And here I am indoors. I am still feeling a little under the weather. I came down with something a couple of weeks ago and I just can't seem to throw it off. And this is the first time I've actually had a little energy to sit down and make a video about good old Justin Trudeau, who stepped down. He attended his resignation as Prime Minister of Canada and leader of the party. Yay! I see people rejoicing and jumping up and down and raising glasses and so on and so forth, but don't be so quick to celebrate. There are some things to celebrate here, there's no doubt about it, but this is not all what it appears to be. Firstly, he is staying in power as Prime Minister until a new leader is picked, and we're pretty certain that's going to be either Mark Carney or Chrystia Freeland, but whoever it is, it will be worse than Justin Trudeau, I can assure you. But in the meantime, he has prorogued government to avoid a confidence vote, and I, for one, am so sick and tired of this proroguing. Stephen Harper started this back in 2015 or something, where it was politically expedient to shut down the government to avoid some awkward questions. And of course Justin was probably going to lose the no confidence vote, which would have triggered an immediate election. But in the meantime, 3 months, he's got till March 24th that the government is prorogued, and so him and his cabinet still have all of their executive powers, and they can still basically run the government from the cabinet without any input from the rest of the government. Now, the good thing about proroguing is that all of the current bills that were being passed through the legislature have now fallen to the ground, and certainly for the time being come to an end. Now, that doesn't mean to say that they've been scrapped. Okay, these people, they keep things forever. These bills and amendments will go into the basement somewhere of some department, and they will just wait until the time is ready to roll those out again. But in the meantime, we have lost Bill C-63, which was the Online Harms Act, which would basically give the government almost unlimited power to censor the public. All of the, a lot of the green agenda stuff for farmers has fallen by the wayside. Their pay rises. Bill C-93, the Pandemic Act, has gone, and and all of the amendments to the gun bill have fallen to the ground. That 273 pieces of legislation or amendments or bills have now completely gone. So although this might seem, like I say, good news, there are some hidden pitfalls that are tied into this situation. Now, I have absolutely no doubt that the Liberal Party is going to completely flounder in the next election. And but again, you know, what I'm seeing happening here, and we've been seeing it for quite a while, is that we're getting bounced from majority to majority. Okay, so we had the point where Jean Chrétien and the Liberal government basically had become so corrupt that people just got sick and tired of it. They elected Stephen Harper. For 10 years, Stephen Harper dismantled Canada. Stephen Harper basically sold Canada to China with what they call the Canada-China FIPA. That is the Federal Investment Procedures and Protocols Agreement, which was ratified in secret by the cabinet. No one got to see this, nobody got to talk about it or debate about it. Okay, so we've all got sick and tired of Stephen Harper. Along comes pretty boy Justin Trudeau. Whoa, we've got another majority going on here, and of course we've seen what's happened in the last 10 years with the green agenda and all the diversity and other things that he has brought into the pandemic. Of course, shutting down the entire country for virtually 3 years, doing unbelievable damage to the country, taking us into debt, deficit spending with all of the payments that went out to people, stepping on the truckers' rights to protest. And of course, since subsequent to that, we've seen several unions, the ports union, the government, I think it was the CAW, threatened to shut down all of the ports. BC lost billions and billions of dollars in trade during that strike. The federal government said absolutely nothing. Okay, so what I am suggesting here is that we're going to get bounced into a conservative government. It'll be a majority. Pierre Poilievre will be its leader, and these people are all questionable. Okay, I did a little research. I came across a video the other day. I'll try and link it below if I can. It's a TikTok video. But this gal is talking about AWZ Ventures. And this is basically a worldwide investment company made up of all of the major security agencies working together to basically digital ID. They talk about investments, strategic investments and this kind of stuff. But when you look at the people who are on the board of directors, you will be absolutely stunned. And guess who's right there? Mr. Stephen Harper. And Stephen Harper, of course, is advocating Pierre Poilievre as the next leader of Canada. So there is a connection there with all of this digital ID tracking. Here, take a look.
Okay, this should give you a bit of an idea of what happens when these people slither into the background, and this is what Stephen Harper has been doing since he left the Prime Ministership of Canada. This is the AWZ Ventures website. Now, team, people first. Headquartered in Toronto, Canada, with offices in Israel and the US, the AWZ global team is made up of elite security and investment professionals with dedicated GP teams on the ground in Israel for each of our funds. Our partners and strategic advisors are entrepreneurs with a history of successful exits. That sounds like some kind of military pullout. Seasoned investment professionals and former senior directors of Israeli and global security and intelligence agencies like the CIA, FBI, MI5, CSIS, Mossad, Shin Bet and Unit 8200, bringing strong ties to the Israeli and global security and intelligence technology ecosystems. Okay, so this is the team here. Never heard of this guy. Edward Sonnenschein, Stephen Harper, partner and president of Advisory Committee. Dame Stella Remington, former MI5 Director General. Richard Fadden, former CSIS Director. James Woolsey, former CIA Director. Tamir Pardo, former Director of the Mossad. Buck Revel, former FBI Associate Deputy Director. And that's some pretty heavy hitters right there. There's about 55 other associates and partners working together on this platform. And here we have from Radio Canada International. So now you might ask yourself, what does this little company do? Well, here's Stephen Harper involved in a company looking to arrange the sale of surveillance tech to the UAE. Critics raising red flags over the United Arab Emirates' troubling human rights record, and so they should. So, former Prime Minister Stephen Harper heads the advisory committee of a Toronto-based company now looking to facilitate the sale of cutting-edge surveillance technology to the UAE, a country with a troubling human rights record. AWZ Ventures finances Israeli surveillance technology systems, including facial recognition and crowd detection systems and services that deliver comprehensive information on individuals in real time. The prospect of such technologies being offered to a country with a history of human rights abuses is being condemned by international cyber threat and human rights expert in Canada, the UK and Israel. Harper is a major player in this investment firm, serving as president of its advisory committee, which is comprised of former members of the Mossad and other Israeli and American intelligence agencies, amongst others. He is also a business partner with the firm, which has investments in 18 Israeli cybersecurity companies, according to its website. Okay, so basically what this company does is it is weaponizing AI and facial recognition. This is digital identity on steroids. Okay, now this is the guy, remember why we're talking about this, this is the guy who has endorsed Pierre Poilievre as the next Prime Minister of Canada. Now, we're not going to leave the Liberals out of this. This is from cconsulting.ca. Federal Government defends hiring of KPMG for cost savings advice. The federal government is defending a contract it awarded to accounting and consulting firm KPMG to help the Natural Resources Department find cost savings in property and IT. The $670,000 consulting contract was awarded in July 2022, prior to the federal government's pledge in the 2023 budget to cut down on external consultant spend. The federal government has faced criticism in the last several years for excessive spending on consulting firms, including McKinsey and Accenture. Since PM Trudeau came into power in 2015, the Liberal government has spent more than $100 million on consulting contracts with McKinsey, compared to $2 million under Stephen Harper. Accenture, meanwhile, was awarded an undisclosed $146 million contract to administer the Canada Emergency Business Account, CEBA, pandemic loan program. So I did a little looking into Accenture, and here she is, Julie Sweet, the chair and CEO. All strategies lead to technology. Companies must reinvent all parts of the enterprise with data, AI, and new ways of working to build resilience and find paths to new growth. Now, why would they be advising the Liberal federal government? And again, here we are. This is data, AI, tracking. So I looked up Julia Sweet. And found her Wikipedia page, and here she is. Oh, look at this. Here she is talking to some of her amphibious friends at the World Economic Forum. Fancy that. Isn't it interesting how all this stuff just ties right in together? And this, my friends, is the revolving door between corporations and the government. These people are interchangeable at any moment, at any time. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me to find out that Julia Sweet is running for the Prime Minister's place in Canada. You know, who knows? Like I say, these people are all joined at the hip. It doesn't really matter who you vote for, and this is where all the moving and shaking is going on at this level, behind the scenes, with people that you've never even heard of. And as I say, you know, when Justin Trudeau finally does step down, he will slide into some little advisory position with one of these corporations, and you will never hear from him again. It'll be a plum position, and he will be set with his foundation for the rest of his sweet little life.
And that, of course, is what happens in all of these situations. All of these people that I've mentioned, all these prime ministers going back, Kim Campbell, Jean Chrétien, Stéphane Dion, nobody remembers these people anymore, because what happens is when they get poo-pooed out of public office, they slide back into the private, they form some kind of consulting agency or group, and they use their inside knowledge to peddle influence around the world and still, you know, push the direction of the narrative. And, you know, this is what I can't seem to get across to people. Like, they get excited about this stuff. They, oh, you know, Pierre Poilievre is going to save the world and so on and so forth. And, you know, it's just a revolving door. It's a revolving door, and the real damage, the real changes are being done just below the surface with all of these different agencies and consultancies and so on and so forth. Okay, and then those laws get enacted. Most people don't even know. I mean, those 273 pieces of legislation that fell to the ground, including myself, 100% of Canadians could not tell you all of those 273 pieces of legislation, what they contain, what the long-term consequences are, how they may be amended, changed by the civil service down the road to completely alter the meaning of what was in, or the intent, or what was in the bills originally. So, yes, this is a very, very, very difficult situation. And of course, you see, as I say, all of these faces, these are the faces that they put on to give the thinnest veneer of credibility. Okay, but underneath all of that, it's the same old business going on by the same old people. And I will basically guarantee you that whoever ends up being the leader of the new leader of the Liberal Party, it will be worse. it will be worse than Justin Trudeau. And again, we can't do anything about it because it's a system, and the system is the problem. And these faces will come and go, and I say they will sink back into the private, and we'll all forget all about them. And in the meantime, the system keeps steam rolling forward. And they have told us over and over again, whether it is Klaus Schwab or I forget the name of his assistant who wrote the book, but they want the Chinese system. They want the Chinese social credit system. They think that is just great. Now, another little twist of this is there is a group of constitutional lawyers headed up by a guy called Manson, which I thought was an interesting name. But yes, they are basically making constitutional challenge against prorogation because it was done on such flimsy grounds. And I might just add here that prorogation, you know, we're talking like a war measures type emergency. Is the only thing that should be allow prorogation to come into place, not some flimsy, oh, it's politically expedient and I don't want to have a no confidence vote. No. That should not be allowed. And the Governor General should not have allowed Trudeau to prorogue. So, you know, these people are all in it together. They're all in cahoots. And I can assure you that if any of these people have risen to the level of government that they're in right now, they're on board with the WEF, the big narrative, and the big agenda, because you don't get there unless you're on board. It's as simple as that. Anyone who is not going along with the narrative, you're going to get sidelined almost immediately. And this happened to me and my friends when we ran for council. We obviously were not on board, and yeah, we were completely sidelined. We were pilloried by the press. They made all of our comments sound like a joke. And so, you know, they have ways of weeding you out if you have something to say that might really affect when you've really discovered what the problem is and what the underlying problems are. And yeah, they don't like that at all. Okay, so in the meantime, this is Houndog Steve wishing you a very pleasant afternoon. I hope this finds you well. If you do, if you enjoyed this video, please like, comment, subscribe below. And in the meantime, this is me signing off, wishing you a very pleasant afternoon, and we'll talk very, very shortly. See you now. Bye.